Hi, my name is Jeannie. This wasn't the video I wanted to post as my first video to my YouTube channel, but it's going to be the first video I post because, my glasses, because I filmed a whole tutorial about makeup. However, since I'm new to this, I thought the camera angle was fine. I thought life was great. I was editing and I looked at it and I looked like this through the whole thing. I don't have confidence issues usually, but I don't want to see that for 20 minutes. No one wants to see that for 20 minutes. So instead, today I'm going to introduce myself and talk about a couple of things. So as you saw from my thumbnail, I live with a chronic autoimmune disorder. I live with multiple sclerosis. A real quick thing about what MS is, because a lot of people don't know. They kind of confuse it with muscular dystrophy. They ask me if I'm a Jerry's kid a lot. I'm not. But MS, in a nutshell, is where your own immune system attacks your nervous system. So think of an extension cord. Extension cords have plastic around them in order to keep the wires from getting corrupted. Because if the wires don't have anything around them to insulate them, they fire incorrectly, you start getting short circuits, and then after a while it completely breaks and the connection's gone. That's what MS does to your nervous system. I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2009, a year to the date, 1 year and 1 day after my father passed away. Of course, that stressful situation is probably what set off my big flare-up. And a flare-up is when you have a symptom of something. Since it's the nervous system, a flare can be almost anything that has to do with your nervous system. So some people can't walk, some people get numbness, some people have sensory problems. Mine was sensory. And I'll tell you the whole story about my diagnosis in another video. Today what I want to talk about is MS, fatigue, and my weight loss. So I suffer greatly from fatigue. That is my biggest multiple sclerosis symptom. That seems to be what most people complain about with MS, is the fatigue. I suffer from it greatly. Heat makes me tired, gives me fatigue. I live in a state that gets very, very hot in the summertime. Probably not the most ideal place for me to live, but that is where I am now. I work full time. I do my thing, work full time, and look very well. I don't look as if I'm sick, which causes a lot of problems. So recently I had the flu. I just got over the flu, took Tamiflu, and today actually I'm at home from work early because I am so tired. I was fearful that I would not be able to drive home if I were to work a full 10-hour day. So what I usually do is 10 hours, and then every Friday I'm off. Today, of course, like I said, I came home early. What triggers the fatigue? Being sick. I've also been going through something at work, which is not related to work, so it's not the usual work stress. It is a situation that was brought about by someone at work, so it's much more out of the norm. It's out of the norm. It's not normal for me to have this sort of reaction to work. Excuse me. Fatigue in and of itself is hard to explain to people. So when I say I'm fatigued, people are like, oh, I get tired. Oh yeah, it's been a rough day for me too. It's not the same. And it's very hard to explain. I suffer from fatigue in a way that is debilitating. So the only way I can think of explaining it is like this. Pretend you've done something all day long, whatever that may be. Maybe you run, so maybe you did a marathon or you did a 5K. Maybe you've worked outside all day long, or you just went out with your friends and partied really hard and then went to the beach and maybe spent all day out and you're all tired and you're ready for your day to end. So pretend that's how you wake up to go to work. Then throw a wet blanket over yourself, a very heavy wet blanket. Gotta make sure it's heavy. After that, go to work, do everything you need to do during the day, whether that is working, taking care of your children, taking care of yourself, showering, cooking, and then you come home, do everything you need to do during the evening, and then you go to sleep, and the next day you wake up and it's the same, if not worse, because you spent the first day of the fatigue doing all that stuff. That's fatigue. For me, it lifts. Sometimes it lasts for a couple of weeks. Sometimes it lasts only for as long as I have, let's say, the flu, and then it goes away. I've gone months with fatigue. I do a couple of things for my fatigue. One is exercise. I know that sounds counterintuitive, and I'll go into that in a minute. And the other is medication. So let me talk about the medication first. I didn't take medication for the first couple of years after diagnosis. I didn't think I needed it. I don't like to take medication. Excuse me. My voice also goes a little bit when I'm fatigued. So I don't like to take medication. I take the least amount of medication as possible. However, the fatigue was getting so bad for me that it was impacting my quality of life. So my doctor recommended I try some medication. There are medications out there specifically for fatigue. There are narcoleptic medications that people will take. I tried those and they did not work for me. What works for me is Adderall, which is a medication they give to people who have ADHD. It is a stimulant. It's a controlled substance, but I take it for my fatigue. I went years feeling, I guess, abnormal. I don't know if I know what normal feels like a normal energy level or a normal way to feel, to feeling very good and being able to do things the way I wanted to do things. So my suggestion for that is if you're one of those people like me who don't like medication, maybe try it. See how it works for you. It doesn't mean you have to stay on it. It doesn't mean you're going to get addicted to it. But if it improves your quality of life, I think it's worth looking at. And then exercise. So exercise ties into my weight loss. After my father passed away, I decided to get really serious about losing weight. I lost over 100 pounds after that, and then got sick and got diagnosed with MS, which kind of curtailed my weight loss. I ran. I was going to do the Boston Marathon. There was all kinds of stuff going on. I was doing pretty good and feeling really good. So what I've noticed since my MS diagnosis, because at first when you're diagnosed, you're scared. You don't know what you can and cannot do. I was assured by my doctor that I could run, I could still do everything I could before, so I started back up. Really, really helps my fatigue. I don't overdo it, because if you overdo it, then you're doing more harm to yourself than good. So I know what my triggers are. This doesn't work for everyone. I know that. I'm not trying to say, if you're really fatigued or if you're having problems, moving, go out and start a marathon program. I don't do that anymore. I haven't ran in a while. There's other reasons for that, and I'll get into them. But I do other things. Keeping mobile is the biggest thing. I find that I get stiff. A big thing with my fatigue when I get overly fatigued is I get muscle spasms in my legs. Muscle spasms in your legs are very hard to explain as well. The only way I can explain those is if people have restless leg syndrome. That's probably the closest that I can imagine. I don't know because I don't know. But you have to move. So your leg is moving by itself and it's telling you you have to move. Happens to me at night, like people who have RLS. So what will happen is it just wakes me up. So then not only am I tired and fatigued and emotionally stressed, but I can't sleep. So I take medication for that. The medication for that is a muscle relaxer. What's a side effect of muscle relaxers? Being tired. So you already have fatigue. You have muscle spasms, which are keeping you from sleeping, or at least me from sleeping. Then you take medication to help that, and that causes you to be more tired. It's kind of a catch-22, right? So damned if you do, damned if you don't, maybe. Or what do I do? How do I balance these two things where, I can't live with these muscle spasms right now and the pain that it's causing, but I want to get up in the morning and do something. So you have to kind of balance it and know when to take your medications. I found that I take it at night, and there's all kinds of tricks and tips you can go through. I also get dizzy. So one of my first symptoms and the first flare that got me diagnosed was my eyes. I have nystagmus, which is your eyes jump. It goes from not really affecting me that much, where I get dizzy, so it comes out as motion sickness and nausea, to my vision is jumping and I can't see. I haven't had that since I was first diagnosed. I take anti-nausea medication. I take meclizine, which is pretty much Dramamine. It is Dramamine, which also causes drowsiness. So you see how all of this kind of ties into each other together. So the more stressed out I am, the worse my eyes behave, which means I need to take the anti-nausea medication Also, my muscles start to spasm, which means I need to take some more of my muscle relaxer, which makes me even more fatigued, which goes in this horrible circle. Exercise helps that. Exercise helps the spasms for me, and it also helps the fatigue. I think they kind of go hand in hand where I don't have to take so much medication. I'm exercising, so my mood is being boosted anyways. So it sort of all feeds into each other. Why do I talk about this now? Like I said, I just got over the flu. There's an emotional situation at work, and I had filmed a makeup tutorial, but I'm too tired to do that again. And I promised myself that I had a video out on my channel about this. I don't want to go any more time without putting a video out. So unfortunately, instead of me doing a nice fun makeup tutorial for my first video, it's more real like this. I want everyone to know that living with a chronic illness doesn't mean that you're homebound, that you can't do things, that you look sick and tired. I don't. A lot of times people don't know I'm sick. It's more of a invisible disease, as they call it. Instead of this being a happy makeup video, it turned into a guess what I have video. I wanted everyone to kind of know that. I want that to be part of my channel because that is part of who I am, but I also want to have fun. So let's talk about my weight loss a little bit. So I've lost a considerable amount of weight. After I was diagnosed with, before that, when my father passed away, I started training for a marathon because my father wanted to do the Boston Marathon, and that was going to be my goal. So that's when I lost a considerable amount of weight. I eat healthy, go more into that later. I do all the things, and before the comments start and the trolls start coming into my comment box down there and tell me, well, if you know what to do, why are you still overweight? Because I am not under the impression that I'm skinny, right? You will have the before and after picture here of where I am and now, if I can think about or remember or figure out how to edit it in. If not, then I don't know. I'll try some way. You could go to my Instagram. I will have it there as well. So before the trolls start, I will tell you, I was on a weight loss journey. Things were great. Life was going down by myself, no surgery. If surgery works for people, I have no problem with that. For me, I knew it wasn't going to work because obviously I have an eating problem. So I needed to deal with that problem because I would have figured out a way to eat around the surgery. There's just no way around it. So did that myself without any surgical intervention. Again, I was going great. Life was good. And then in 2013, I was diagnosed with cancer. I was diagnosed with leukemia. We thought it was MS. It was not MS, obviously. So that's the reason. I still have a way to go. I am at 5 years remission, actually the 27th of this month, which is a big milestone for people who have cancer. So I'm doing really well. But it's taken a very long time for my body to get back to a place where I could even think about exercising again, never mind working and everything else. So there was no way I could work, exercise, deal with my MS, have my body rebuild itself. It wasn't happening. So now I'm back on track. Last year was the first time I felt strong enough to actually start exercising again, and I actually do CrossFit. Yes, I do CrossFit. I'm a little crazy. I enjoy it. I modify movements, but yeah, I'm doing CrossFit. So the cancer story is for another time. I'm just on here to say hello, introduce myself, let you know that not everything's going to be all my disease. Don't feel bad for me. I'm doing well. And if you're here and you have multiple sclerosis, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm not trying to tell you that these things will make you feel great and do what I do. It's not where I am or who I am. You need to do what's good for you. But I do want to show that some of this is attitude. And while sometimes I do feel bad and I feel horrible and I hurt and I'm sore and my legs are killing me, life is still good. You know, there's still things happening. It might not be exactly the way you want it to happen, but life is never a guarantee. Like, for instance, if I wouldn't have been diagnosed with MS, I still would have probably been diagnosed with the cancer later, and that would have thrown my whole life for a loop as well. So it's about how you deal with situations and how you sort of reorganize yourself. It doesn't mean it's an end. Yeah, maybe your life isn't exactly how you planned it, but when does life actually go how you planned it? I know mine has never gone how I planned it. So this is just something else. Yes, you know, sometimes it's horrible. I don't have to be in a wheelchair. I don't use assistive devices. I may in the future, and I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. It's okay to mourn that loss, but life is still good. There's still things out there. You can do so much. You can experience so many things. And I know it's hard. I've been there for the first month of my diagnosis. When I had my flare up, I couldn't see straight. Like all my vision was jumping, and that's horrible to maybe lose your vision. So I understand. I'm coming from that place, and I know everything I'm saying isn't going to be perfect or right for you, but I hope that maybe I can show you things I do and how I modify my life to live with my multiple sclerosis and have a good life. Is it perfect? No, life isn't perfect though. There's things to live for though. And, maybe I can be that person that shows you that there are. And maybe, you can get some information from me and some tips. Maybe it'll help. So that's me. Welcome to my channel. If you like my content, which will be randomly makeup stuff and disease stuff. I may switch it, like separate the channels later, but for now, that's kind of what we're doing. If you like it, like, comment, subscribe. I have an Instagram. I will hopefully link it down in the description box below. Send me an email if you want to talk, have anything you want to say, you want any information about how I deal with my multiple sclerosis, or just need someone to talk to, send me a line. And know I'm around. So have a great night.